Hello everyone, welcome to my analysis of Petscop episodes 17 to 21. Buckle up and get your popcorn because this is going to be a long episode. This is the analysis of all 5 episodes that came out on Easter because Paul, he spammed the Petscop upload button. A lot of episodes came out. Though most of them are short, one of them is longer than the rest, and we're going to be analyzing all of them in this video. So it's going to be a very long video. Before we get into the analysis, I do want to mention one thing. Me and another friend are working on a recreation of Petscop in Doom. We use an advanced source port called GZDoom, and if you want to learn more, I have a link to the Discord server in the description. And, without further waiting, let's get right into the analysis. Petscop 17 was uploaded on April 22nd. This was around 11 o'clock at night, still before April 21st. Petscop 17 begins where we left off, in the garage. Paul, or whoever is playing, brings up the menu. We can see the message below our piece count. It says, "The ghost room is a ship in a bottle." This is a reference to the ghost room screen we saw in Petscop 16. Now the bottle I'm not so sure of, but it may show up in a later episode. We see the player proceed to open the options menu. Inside we see a volume, graphics controls, and test sound menu. The player chooses sound test. He scrolls through all the sounds quickly. One thing to note is that the hand with the ball on top is very similar to Pen holding a ball. Pen also has to do with sound. He scrolls by quickly, but here are some odds and unknown sounds to know. We see 0A, 0E, 10, 11, 21. This could be the sound. 22 through to 27, 40 to 42, 51, 55 to 56, 68 to 69, and 6C. We get to 85 and 84, which is Care saying
Uh-oh.
And
Bye-bye.
he clicks both these a couple times. The player begins to spam the bye-bye button for up to about a minute or so, and then clicks the uh-oh button. The white ball turns orange with a small tune, and it seems the player has accessed the secret menu. Note, there is a small ominous tune while using this menu. He selects room impulses and then selects the house. He turns the gen up to 10 and hits play. What gens are, I'm not sure yet, but I have an idea of it. I'll talk about that more later. We see multiple triangle heads in the house with the dial the player uses to select the players. My theory is this room impulse is a way of showing all the players who played this game before Paul. The music playing during this is a remix of the family room music we saw all the way back in Petscop 15. A text box appears abruptly outside the house. Hi there, the player is walking backwards. This is most likely because whoever is typing these messages is making the player retrace their steps. The next sign says, "Wake up, you're free. There you go, thank you. I want you to retrace your steps." The family, as usual, wants to learn what happened to you between November 10th and 12th of 1997. On November 10th of 1997, you ran away from your daddy's school building, and on the 12th you arrived at your house. The question is, where were you on November 11th? And what were you doing there? I hope to guide you to that location with a spell, which I will begin now. A sound plays and we see that the text is yellow, tying back to Care. You are a girl named Carrie Mark, and you were born on November 12th, 1992. So now we know Care's real name. It also may be safe to say that Care is playing this since the game directs towards Care. You have a mommy named Anna, a daddy named Marvin, and an auntie named Jill, and an uncle named Thomas, and a cousin named Daniel. We now know that Marvin is Care's dad and Anna is Care's mom, not Jill. I know what you must be thinking. Have these statements been true, or have I cursed you? Is there such a thing, a curse that changes your past? Stop thinking. You were kidnapped and spent 5 months studying in an abandoned elementary school. You ran away, crying, ashamed, covering your face. This can also be the same thing referenced in Petscop 3. You were blind. At some point, your movements stopped making sense, bumping into walls and doors, dodging invisible obstacles. Find the moment when you were led astray on the road. The video cuts to black, and we once again see Nall walking around backwards. Another text box appears saying, "A girl went missing here." Story goes, your daddy used to sit on a bench with a birthday cake trying to lure her home. Instead of missing girl signs, he put up birthday girl signs. Promising cake to the birthday gets cut out by the dial, and I'm guessing it probably says girl. Of course, the birthday girl never came home, to his disappointment. When I learned about this absurd story, I spent a lot of time digging. Eventually, I found what really happened to that girl. Want to know? Ask. The player eventually brings up a gray ask box. They type in, "What happened to her?" A tombstone slowly rises from the ground looking similar to Michael Hammond's tombstone. Instead, it has a small party hat on top instead of a gift. This could also tie to Marvin trying to lure her as a birthday girl. The eye pattern matches the Windmill Girls. Lena Leskowitz, 1968 to 1977. They didn't see her. This name ties to the user who posted Petscop on the Creepy Games subreddit, u/PaleKowitz, and the dates show that the girl died at 8. This is pretty grim. The message may mean that she got hit by a car. More on this later on. The player finally arrives at a hatch, taking it past the Quitter's room, past Michael's grave, all the way to the road with the cars on it. He then walks backwards down the road. Eventually, there is nothing but darkness. This is where the video ends. To recap this episode, we can say that we have been finally shown some new menu features, showed a secret menu, and shown what Room Impulses is. Care was the one playing in this recording, and someone wanted to know what happened to Care on November 11th. We also know Care's family and her full name, Carrie Mark. The family could also have the last names Mark. We also learned about another child that died, and we can assume that she was hit by a car. But that's just my recap and thoughts. Yours can be different. Let's get right into Petscop 18. Petscop 18 was uploaded on the 21st of Easter. This was the shortest episode of the 5. The video begins with the player in the secret menu again, this time selecting extra stuff. The first thing we see is a sprite sheet of Nall, and on the bottom it says 01 Guardian _ history. We now know Nall's official name, but I will most likely still call him Nall. We can also see that one of the 4th version of Nall is used in the school when the player is forced back to the girl sign. We then see some history of Amber, Brandis, and Tonith. Pen is terrifying because Pen having legs is a cursed image of itself. Then we see a pet never seen before called Hudson. Then we see a sprite of Wavy jumping. This could have been a cut feature from Even Care. Then we see a map of the gift plane. It seems that the gift plane was supposed to be much bigger, but that makes sense as the above portion of the game was never finished. Then it switches to a smaller, crude version of the house. Note, switching to the house seems to be slower than everything else. The player seems to stay on the house for the rest of the video. The house seems to slightly move a little bit twice, but that's not all. Listen to this clip. Did you hear that? Let me play it again. If you can't hear it, that's okay. Let me amplify it for you. It seems there's a voice that is quickly cut off. It sounds a lot like Care's voice. Now what she is saying, I'm not sure. To me it sounds like she is saying Eric, but I'm not for certain on that. The house moves a little one more time, and then the video cuts to black. This is the end of Petscop 18. In Petscop 18, we saw the extra stuff of the secret menu. We saw Nall's real name, Guardian. We saw different versions of the Guardian, Amber, Randis, Tonith, Pen, and an unknown character named Hudson. We then see a small map of the gift plane, and then a crude small version of the house. We also hear Care's voice quickly cut off. Alright, on to Petscop 19. Petscop 19 was once again uploaded on April 21st, sometime after Petscop 18. The video begins once again in the secret menu. The player selects all recordings. We see many selections with names and on the side saying gen and a number. My best guess is gens could mean the version of the game. You can change the gen when starting the demo though. We see a lot of autosaves. Then past Gen 8, we see the icon changes to a disk. This most likely means that these save files are stored on the disk of the game itself. Eventually, we see some names for the files. We see Tiara, Family 2, Fuck, Fuck, Fuck in all caps, which is kinda odd. We see Tiara again, and then after some autosaves, we see a lot of names. These are people's names we have not seen before. Are these family members or people who have previously played Petscop? If so, it's a lot of people. The player eventually gets to sort test Gen 01. He selects and plays it. We see a white room with tons of even care blocks in a line. We also see some of the old Guardian sprites as the player, but he doesn't seem to move normally, he just stays at the idle position. This must have been a very early version of Petscop. Maybe these are playtesters for the game. We then see the Guardian get to the end of the blocks. It seems that he's testing the collisions in some way because he moves through every block. He gets to the end of the blocks and the video cuts to black. We then see the player back in the menu. He scrolls to Mic 2 Gen 02. He plays it. We see an unknown loading screen. The player is in the in-between room of Wavy and Pen's room. What difference is we see a canvas in front of the table and the Guardian is still in the old sprite. There seems to be also no background. The walls seem to have no collision also. The player then enters what seems to be an early version of Wavy/Randus's room. The room seems to have a purple color all over the floors and walls. The player proceeds to walk right up to the camera. He moves over off camera and we see that the egg that was seen in the Petscop channel's icon. He picks it up and it flies towards the screen. Then a message appears saying, "What? One of those eggs was in Daniel's game? What an unfair trick. Have you found every egg in the office?" The player then walks through the walls into the white and then the video once again cuts to black. One thing to also note is that the purple texture looks similar to the unknown texture in the nifty texture sheet. The video then is seen with the file loaded named Care with Gen 3. We see the same room as before but with pets. Whoever is playing seems to be moving back and forth in patterns. Now my theory is that this is Care playing and she is dancing, because most of you already know in Petscop 21 Care's movements match a song, more on that later, so maybe she is dancing here? The video then cuts to a new save named Bella, Gen 3, the same gen as the last one, and whoever is playing catches Randus and Wavy, and then proceeds to read their descriptions, and then exits out the menu, and then it cuts to a recording named James 2, Gen 04. He seems to be making sure Amber works properly, or he's just confused on how to catch Amber. Next we see name Phil Gen 04. He seems to just stand there as Rona floats above him. Then we see name Amber 2 Gen 05. He seems to have trapped himself in with Amber. Then we see name Bella 3 Gen 05. They catch Pen and the cock graphic is overlaid by the piano keys. We then see the message for saying you caught every pet and it's cut off by the video ending. In this video, we see a lot of recordings of what could have been other people playing earlier versions of Petscop or people playtesting the game. I really think that most of these were playtesters because we see a lot of bugs and most of it at the end of the video, like the player being trapped in Amber's cage and the piano keys overlaying the cock graphic. Alright, on to Petscop 20, the longest and the best episode. Petscop 20 was uploaded on, you guessed it, Easter. The video begins with the player scrolling to the save Marvin Gen 06. The demo rot is on and he hits play. The recording begins with the same Garalina intro we've seen before, only this time a little tilted. We see the normal Petscop title screen, and then we see the player hit start and selects the last save slot. He inputs MVM. This could be Marvin Short or Mum. I couldn't say what it is though. He starts in the GIF plane and reads the sign before the video jump cutting to him in even hair and then Ronit's room. There are more jump cuts in this room until he selects the controls menu. He seems to be reading the controls so he can input the secret code. In this though, it does seem like he is trying to do something, but he's unable to do it. He then enters the code. Something to note is the menu sound a little off-pitch, but that could just be me. He then leaves the room and the video cuts to him in the first room. Instead of seeing the darkened loading screen, we see what looks like a room with connected doors. Not sure of what this could be. He seems to walk around lost in the Newmaker plane. The video cuts to multiple different autosaves before eventually the video cuts to a new autosave in Gen 07. Messages show up saying, "Hi Marvin, Rainer here." We can now say that the player is Marvin and Rainer is the person writing these messages. You have to be careful this time. If you start running out there without a sense of purpose, you'll get lost. I'm writing this on July 10th, 1997, and Care is still missing. We are searching. Last weekend, we almost got lost ourselves. Your search is harder. Beyond here, there are no landmarks. But this model of a building, though crude, should still be familiar to you. Marvin walks around the building a little before more messages showing, saying, "Where is the building? From here, I want you to find a grave. You know the grave I'm talking about. It's definitely out here somewhere. It's unmarked, of course. That's the trouble. You're the only one who could find it." He once again moves around a little before another message is showing, "I increased your speed so you can search faster." The video cuts and then the video is in a new audio save in Gen 08. This must have been how Rainer found Lena's grave, so when Rainer found Care, he showed her the grave. This may also imply that Marvin may have killed Lena. More on that later. We see that Marvin can manually open the hatch. He does this and we see another unknown loading screen. It looks like a crayon box on a couch with a pillow over it. Something to note is this image looked like it was taken in real life, not the game. Other than that, I can't say what it represents. He seems to begin in an unknown area instead of the known area. We see a sign. He interacts with it and it says roadmap. He moves to the next room. We see a sign with 4 pillars and with items on top. The sign says caskets. When these are done, they will be great. Anybody who sees these is surely to become part of the family. He interacts with casket 1 and we see a chalkboard with some red scribbles. I can't make out what they say, but by now you've probably guessed it. These are the censored items. I say this because all the way back in Petscop 7, a message at the end shows that they had to censor some things. And one listed was something written on a chalkboard. We never actually see it censored in-game, but this has got to be it. A message shows up saying, "This one is called Casket 4. 5 words written on a chalkboard in the dirty building you inhabit. The 5 words could be, 'Do you remember being born?' But I am not for certain on that." The next casket seems to be what looks like a red stencil in the corner of the master bedroom. We see this censored back in Petscop 14 when Paul paints over it with black paint to get the key to unlock the garage. Messages show up saying, "This one is called Casket 3. After kicking you out of the house, your wife started painting the walls black to cover the stencils. I helped. She made it feel urgent. That Saturday, busy with work, she pinned a note. It contained a list of objects. This would mean that something happened to kick Marvin out of the house, leading him to live in the school." Next we see a red triangle. This is what most of you already know as the censored spinning object in Petscop 9 that came out of the present with the sticker on it. And in the middle we see what looks like a head. This is most likely Care's head because later on it talks about Care. The messages appear saying, "This one is called Casket 2. As I painted, I watched Care dance around the house. She liked to spin. She became a blur. But in that blur, somehow, as she spun around, from 45 degrees, 290, 180, 360, 720, 1080, 1440, 1800, 2160, winding, tightening. I was stunned by pure horror and disgust." Next we see a vase with a dandelion. This is the censored object seen in Petscop 7 in Care's room in the child library. We know this because there's a small red sliver under the censor. Messages once again appear saying, "This one is called Casket 1. You showed Care her red, blurry reflection in the vase. You said, 'You see that? Look at how ugly you are now.' Care squinted her eyes. The reflection wasn't clear at all, but as you began to describe her grisly deformities, she began to see them. 'Nobody wants to see you like this,' you said. But she soon escaped and bravely returned home. In the bathroom mirror, she saw a clear picture. This must have been what caused Care to run away and what most likely got Marvin kicked out of the house." He moves to the next room and a sign says Places. We see a picture and when interacted we see the other side of the bench in the party room. We also see that Marvin can't go to where Paul entered this area, but Paul can't see the hallway Marvin just exited. This means that back in Petscop 8, Marvin was trying to show Paul the caskets and everything, but Paul couldn't see that area, thus it just looked like he was walking into a wall. And also the part where he flies up is probably where Marvin walked up the staircase. Marvin then interacts with the picture of the house, then the school. Note there is no ominous tone with the school. He then interacts with the windmill. The video abruptly cuts to him viewing Michael Hammond's grave. The message seems to not go away as he moves to other areas. We then see him in the ask box in Tool's room. He types in "did you dig?" most likely almost typing dig. Then deletes the dig and types "find Lena." This is another reason why I think Marvin might have killed Lena, as he might have buried her, but this is just speculation. The Tool responds with the well-known "I don't know" response. He then types "who's your boss?" The Tool still responds with "I don't know." He then asks what year it is. He gets the calendar as we seen before. He then interacts with the camera. We can see that he can interact with the camera and move it, which makes sense. We've seen this before. He moves the camera into the air, and then we suddenly hear a very quiet voice of a girl.
And now, and what you look like. Look like. See what this is. See what this color is. See what you look like. Now, all this you look like.
This sounds like the vase conversation, except it's both sides in Kara's voice, because she says stuff like, "see what you look like." We then see he moves the camera into Tool's room, and then he then turns it around. And we see the corresponding block matching the symbol behind the in-between room of Wavy and Penn's room. This makes sense as they have similar layouts. We then see he enters the pets menu. The only pets he has caught is Tonus, which makes once again sense. Then we see the player who played the recording enter the menu and go to sound test. Then Petscop 20 ends abruptly. Alright, on to Petscop 21. This isn't the shortest video, but it is the easiest video to analyze, and you'll see why in a second. Petscop 21 was uploaded on, you already know, Easter. This video, like I said, isn't short but very simple. We have a recording named Care Dancing Sign playing on Gen 08. Pretty much the player moves in patterns for 5 minutes and the video ends. But that's not all. There's this song called The Sign by Ace of Base. I will play it. I'll probably get demonetized, but it's not like I'm earning money anyways. This means that most likely this was the song Care was dancing to. It syncs perfectly with the movements. But that's pretty much it for Petscop 21. I'll show a video made by D. Doppin. Well, that's pretty much it. If you made it this far, thanks, really. It means a whole lot. I can't admit I could have gotten this video out sooner, but oh well. And if you think my thoughts are dumb, or think they're good, or have theories of your own, let me know. Anyway, like I said, thanks for watching to the end if you did. See you at Petscop 22.